Welcome, guys. I'm trying to put the little clicker in my pocket. It's not wanting to go in. It has been quite a hot minute since my last video stating I was coming back to YouTube. I'm going to be making a video here later today talking about all of that and issuing a public apology about it as well. But for this video, we are going to be reviewing the book, The Magical Use of Prayer Beads, Secret Meditations and Rituals for Your Quablistic, Hermetic, Wiccan, or Druid Practice by Louis de Biasi. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. I'm going to try to not get a mass glare because this is a shiny book. Now this one I picked up. This one I actually bought when it was on sale at the library when I lived close enough to the library I bought it from. And I thought it was interesting because it was the first book I had seen on the topic of prayer beads for non-Christian use. So with that, I will show you guys, we're going to set the book down for just a second. I'm going to show you guys a set of prayer beads that I did buy for my practice. And then you guys that way you guys see them. I will do a full-on review of these and the company I got them from at a later date as well. So these are built in this traditional prayer bead style. Pretty sure you can make them in many other styles. Those are just the traditional style, and that's what that store offered. So yeah, I cannot wait to dive into this. This is actually a book that really helped me to utilize prayer beads to deepen my faith, to deepen my practice, and to deepen my ministry, so to speak. And as with everything, prayer beads are a tool that you can use. They're not mandatory that you use them. They're not something someone advises you to use or says you have to use. They're a tool that you can use if you choose to. I use them. I use them in different ways, even different ways that are in this book. And I use it also as a way to honor my grandmother, because my grandmother had tons of rosaries, or tons of prayer beads, I should say, and she used them a lot. So I was able to, honor her through using prayer beads, even if they weren't for the same faith. All right, that's my deepest connection with them, is honoring my great grandmother, who passed away way too soon when I was a kid, and it's just a way for me to kind of keep her spirit alive, if you will. So the back of the book, it talks about exploring how the profound textile experience of using prayer beads can be used to deepen spiritual work in the Kabbalah, Wicca, Druidry, and Hermetic traditions. And and it says that it's going to offer tips, tricks, techniques, all kinds of things in here. So I can honestly and truly vouch for the fact it gives you quite a bit of information. And what I think is one of the best things about this book is it starts off with a discussion on what are prayer beads, because I think people confuse prayer beads with other similar tools a lot. So I really do like how that talks about it. It also talks about the main principles of successful practice. Now, this is not something you have to do to consider yourself successful in practicing. But I do like how it has this conversation like right out of the gate. And then it talks about consecrating your prayer beads. Obviously, you're going to want to consecrate them. You're going to want to cleanse them, consecrate them, get them ready for use, for you. Okay? Then, after those 3 chapters, it breaks it down based off of the tradition we're talking about. It starts with Quablistic tradition, Hermetic tradition, Wiccan tradition, and Druid tradition. Now, then there's a conclusion and a couple of appendixes in here as well. So I'm gonna just give you guys it's not a massively thick book, but it is a decent size. So I like it. It was a good starting set to getting me going, to figuring out how to use them for my own practice. And of course, at the time when I got this book, there was no draconic or no Nordic way of using prayer beads that were in here. So this the main section I'm going to focus on is the section I read, which is the Wiccan tradition. No, I'm saying I'm a lot. I'm not used to doing videos anymore. So I read the Wiccan tradition, which starts on 167. And, I read it and I took inspiration from it and I molded it and worked it into how I use it for me. I don't necessarily use it according to this chapter. But all in all, it's a really well written chapter. Okay. It does talk about how Wicca was founded by Gerald Gardner. It gives you a little bit of history about the tradition itself. It goes into ritual of the Wheel of the Year, where it talks about using the prayer beads to represent the Wheel of the Year, if you will. Then it has a couple of different meditations that you can do utilizing prayer beads, where you hold one bead in your hand and you work your way around the rosary, and when you come back to the very bottom, hold on one second, this is easier to show you. So it talks about a meditation, where you start down here, and on each one you take a breath, you move on, and you do this all the way down around the loop back to here. And when you get back to the pendant, I don't know what this is called. I want to call it a pendant, but I know it's not actually called a pendant. But when you get back to the pendant, then the meditation is done and over with. So, it gives you a way to time your meditations, to time yourself. And then it says, as the more you get practice with it, the more rounds you go in a setting. So it's using that as a way to time and give your hands something to do while you're sitting there trying to still your mind and meditate. Okay? So there's a lot of good little there's meditations in here. It talks about individual rituals, how to use them within ritual. In here, most of the pages, when it talks about the rituals and the meditations, there are like 2 or 3 pages of instruction for each of those exercises. So, yeah. So that's why you see me flipping through the book so much, to tell you other things. Then it talks about a 2-person ritual, and each section is not so much information, it gives you more activities, and I want to say activities, like rituals and meditations to do to get used to using them, so that way you can springboard beyond what's in this book into things that are actually going to work really well for you. Now, like I said, I am by no means Wiccan. I don't believe in a lot of things in Wicca, and that's just perfectly fine. I am a Nordic witch. I am a Nordic priestess as well. But this is completely different. That's a completely side note and side video. But I did find that this chapter on Wicca did help me gain some ideas and some insight on how to use my prayer beads for myself. So all in all, I am definitely going to have to give this book, I'm going to say, I would definitely pick this book up just for a read. Even if you're not going to use prayer beads, reading this book may give you some ideas. Maybe some ideas, maybe some inspiration to pick up a set of prayer beads, and all those fun things. Alright, I just would, if you were going to buy your prayer beads, buy them from someone who is pagan, who does practice, who does make prayer beads, okay? Mine was made by by an individual seller who I believe practices witchcraft, but she makes prayer beads for all faiths. So, you know, and she's on Etsy. I don't know if she still is, because it was a couple years ago when I got mine. But all in all, should you read this book? I feel like everybody should at least read it, if not just to pique curiosity. And there went my light because my computer went off. Give me just one quick second, okay, guys? Sorry about that. But yeah, just to pique curiosity, maybe understand prayer beads a little bit better. I would say that definitely I would recommend that people read this at least once in their path. Would I say go out tomorrow and buy a copy? No, I would say check it out from your local library if you can, and then determine if you want to have it in your permanent collection or not. Because not everybody wants to have a thing about prayer beads, because prayer beads are a very Christianized, popular Christian concept. And I get that. So, all in all, I'm going to have to give this book a 4.5 out of 5. And the reason why I give it a 4.5 instead of just a solid 5 is because I wish it would go a little more in depth into the hows and the whys you're doing certain things, instead of just giving you a ritual and telling you to do something without much explanation whatsoever. I wish it would have went more in depth, as well as I wish the chapters on each tradition were a bit more expanded with some information as well, as opposed to just a paragraph or two saying that, you know, the Wicca was founded by Gerald Gardner. Wicca may or may not involve the use of witchcraft. You know, just a generalized paragraph. Wish it would have been a little more in depth in that area as well, mainly because it helps readers to connect to the material better if they have a little bit more background information. That's what I understand. That's how I understand and I read things. It helps me personally to connect. So that's why I give it a 4.5 out of 5. So with that being said, guys, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. And until the next one, with love and wisdom, namaste.